The following podcast contains spoilers and explicit language. Listener discretion is advised. Hello and welcome to Animated Anarchy, the show that takes a critical look at animated features of all kinds, and we determine the good from the bad. Hi, I'm Andrew.
I'm Mike.
And welcome again to another episode where we talk about movies of all kinds. Animated movies of all kinds. And today, we have a special treat. We're going to review The Swan Princess.
Oh.
Why the sigh? Because
you really need...
Now, come on. It's a classic movie. It says special edition right here on the DVD.
What's so special about the DVD?
Just like every Disney movie out there.
Hold on. But pass me the box.
Okay, here you go.
Let me take a look here.
Let's see what's
special. Read along. Odette's Book of Wonderful Friends. I think she has like 3 of them in the movie.
Yeah.
Games.
That's it.
And sing along.
Games.
This is a special edition.
Yeah.
I love how this
is really special.
I love how the frog on the back is like, draw me like one of your French girls. You see that? It's like a really bad piece of...
Oh, yeah. He's like just laying on top of like Prince Derek.
Yeah.
Derek.
So
I'm enjoying your treat, Derek. That's the only thing that came to my mind every time they said Derek.
I didn't know any kids named Derek.
Derek I know a few Dereks.
I never knew. Derek was a...
Growing up, probably not, but, No. But Derek is like it was a name that was around a lot. There's a lot of Michaels.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Swan Princess, and this is from Sony Pictures, I'm guessing.
Well, I don't think so.
It was the animation was done by Nest, who I don't know what else they do. I know this was probably distributed by Sony, but
yeah, it's just Sony Pictures distributed.
Right, but the animation, I don't know anything about the animation company, the people that made it. But it's an enchanting fairy tale filled with music and magic. Oh boy, is it filled with music!
I got something to say about this movie. I remember watching this movie more than a couple times as a kid.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in theaters,
but the thing is, I didn't watch this movie for years, and I didn't remember. I remembered certain things about it, and watching this movie again was like massive deja vu.
Right. And
there was a lot of things that I remember, and a lot of things I don't remember, and probably for good reason.
Yeah.
It's a weird movie. It's like, and I think ultimately the one thing that we noticed watching this again, that it is totally cashing in on Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid.
Definitely. Yeah.
And all that, because it was like, what, that was like 92, 93?
Yeah, no, 94. That's when the movie came out. I'm trying to find out when Beauty and the Beast came
91.
out.
That was 91.
Was it 91?
So it takes like 2 or 3 years to make one of these movies.
Well, there is a little bit of trivia. Richard Rich, who was the director and producer of this movie, he originally pitched the idea to the Walt Disney Studios, and he was working there, and then I guess the idea was just rejected, and he says like, well, screw this, I'm gonna make my own movie, and it's gonna have blackjack and hookers.
Blackheads?
Yes, yeah, blackheads and
a lot of
and hookers. In fact, screw the whole thing.
Yes,
I was trying to quote Futurama.
I know,
damn
but
it,
you failed.
It was terrible.
Oh my god.
Anyway, you all know what I was.
Yeah, but either way, this movie, there are so many little moments that are just reminiscent or just outright stolen. Even the like the main theme, it just sounds like Beauty and the Beast. It's such a odd amalgam, and it's like, it hits all the Disney.
It's weird. It's like it doesn't necessarily hit all of the traditional Disney notes, like at the time, but it does kind of feel like it's trying to do something different with the idea, but at the same time, it kind of falls flat.
Yeah, it's not pushed enough.
No, not really.
And the only thing they did push on, and we would look at each other and be like, really? Every 2 seconds there was a song. And everybody had a song. The valet had a song. the everybody had a freaking song in that movie, and every 2 seconds there was a song, and it was the most random assortment of songs.
Yeah, and it's like it went all over the place. It was like a nice little ballet one. Then like, well, I mean, it started off with dun 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 dun. Yeah, like
she was gorgeous. Da da da. Something fair. We do not like each other.
This is really dumb, 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 dumb. And then it goes into like, you know, the ballet sort of song, and then there's some sort of like Buzzley Berkeley piece that just shows up randomly at the last time, and then Rothbart's song and dance thing was kind of like, you know, this jazzy, like no more Mr. Nice Guy, and that was a weird.
And
sequence.
then I think there was an odd like MGM musical like beauty pageant song.
Yeah, I feel like every song in this, every character had a song, and or almost every section had a song. It's like it didn't really just move along. It's just, and then there were even parts where it was like calling back to the song that they said before.
Yeah.
And
you think the song is going to start up again, and then it just cuts away.
Yeah, and this just cuts away. It was
another thing too.
There were so many times where we were just going, no, the song, stop.
Oh, I was going to say something about. I lost it. But it was something about how the songs are so reminiscent of old songs. Oh, the thing I was going to say was, surprisingly, even though the movie is sort of kind of like, they didn't use any Swan Lake, any kind of...
Yeah, it was adapted from the ballet Swan Lake.
But they didn't use any of the music.
No, and I don't really know much about the story. I mean, is it... do you know anything about it? What spoilers, Mike? Spoilers, jeez. I mean, some people they don't know that yet.
Oh God.
But yeah, I don't know much about the story, and I don't know if it's really adapted correctly or not. And they don't use any songs from the ballet itself, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we should start talking about this thing.
Yeah.
Talking about the story. So
it begins with Once Upon a Time.
Yes, Once Upon a Time, of course. And we should mention this. Like the first name we saw, it's like I thought it was Richie Rich.
Yeah, the director's name is Richard Rich.
Yeah,
and of course it's written in gold letters. So
this is like Richie Rich. It's like, well, he has the money. So all right. But it starts off with like two kingdoms, I guess. There's a king on one side of the land and a queen on the other side of land. The king has a daughter, and
I love how he just gets the daughter, and you don't see the mother.
You know what? You're right. They didn't even mention that, did they?
And the thing we noticed that she was bundled up, and it looks like he gets a pink,
she looks like a pink croissant.
And we're just like, that was the first thing we saw. I'm like, oh, what a beautiful croissant. Beautiful shape.
And then he shows it off to like the kingdom. It's like, the bakery is done. Yeah. So
so you see the king has a daughter.
Yeah, there's no mention of the queen. Not even like she died or
just
anything.
A random two hands come in holding a bundle and just hand it to the king, and that's it.
That's it.
There's no queen.
No. And in fact, I would say like there's absolutely. After later on, going ahead of ourselves, the king dies, and or the king is like killed, but any mention of the kingdom, or if anyone is ruling the kingdom at the time, it's gone. It's like there's no mention of it.
Yeah, like Odette is gone and he's gone, and apparently their kingdom is now
Rothbart wants that kingdom, but.
There's no one running that kingdom.
There's no one running it, so why does he need to do this convoluted plan?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't at all.
No, it doesn't. So,
and also...
But anyway, so there's a queen in another kingdom who has a son, and the king and the queen from these different kingdoms want to get together, and they try to arrange a marriage between these two kids.
Yeah.
So they're always visiting each other, and the first song is like about having fun. This is not my idea of fun.
They don't like. They're trying. Like the parents are trying to make them love it because it's pretty much going to be not a betrothal.
Yeah, it's like the kids like know each other throughout their lives, but they're not really that into each other.
Which I will say, in comparison to other Disney movies where a person falls in love and they marry and live happily ever after like 2 days or 3 days.
Yeah.
This movie at least establishes that they've known each other since childhood.
Yeah, which is
great. But the thing is though is that
it kind of falls
right.
like on its face a little bit,
right? Because they hate each other and they don't like each other all the way up until they're super pretty and super sexy, and then they turn around and look at each other, and suddenly puberty hits, and then you're like, oh, she's hot.
They even mention that in the movie. It's like they meet each other like in their, I guess, teens. And because every princess is like 16 in these movies or something. So they meet up with each other, and then he says the thing, it's like, you're beautiful. I'll marry you. And then she's like, what else? And then that's the whole thing. It's like, what else is there? And then that's the so there's that whole dynamic, which actually it's kind of it's almost refreshing in a way, kind of like to have that sort of realization that it's like, okay, they're a prince, they're a princess, they meet, they fall in love, but then it's like, but wait a minute, what else is there to
But
this?
at the same time,
like,
that never resolves either.
No, it doesn't resolve, and it's the rest of the movie. It's like I almost felt like maybe there was some sort of realization that maybe he was being too cruel, or maybe he would think like, I kind of feel like there's more to Odette than what they're. Odette's the name of the princess, by the way.
Yeah.
I feel we failed to mention that, and the prince is named Derek, so it's Princess Odette, Prince Derek, Derek, and so yeah, there is that moment where it's like they hit it off, but then they don't. So it's like, oh, the king and the queen are just like, oh, we failed. We tried to get them together. Yeah. So it's not really like they're forcing them to get married. It's like more like our plan was to make them live with each other for a while and get to know each other. And then once they got of age, they would really, hit it off or boink or whatever. And then
there's a scene during the song where you look in the background and the guy is just the boy is just choking her.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's a moment where they're kids, and in the background, it's like they get into a fight, and right between the king and the queen, just a very small hole, and you see Prince Derek, the child, has his arms, like his hands, right around Odette's
neck. And it's a violent shaking.
And he's shaking her, and it's like, what the hell? What the hell is that about?
They probably thought that they were animated and then it'll be blocked by the king and queen. Yeah. And then it just made it through.
Yeah, but she also pulls her punches as well.
Oh, yeah.
Those are more.
She lays them out a few times.
Yeah, it's like. It's kind of cute, actually, seeing the kids like interact in that sort of way. It's like,
but not with the choking.
They're like, well, I mean, not in that way, but I mean, that was just like, what the hell was
there
that?
There was a lot of what the fuck moments in this.
Yeah. There were, especially all the
wow, that peg bar is really rusty.
Yeah, there were moments in this movie where you could clearly see the peg bar of the animation board.
Like they didn't register the zooms and the truck-ins properly.
And there was a lot of cut off from the animation that was clearly
you could see like the cell line below
an inch above the bottom of
the background. The backgrounds would just end, and you just see the white of the paper, or the canvas.
There were a lot of moments like that. It was pretty.
Well, I mean, honestly, this movie obviously didn't have a Disney budget.
No, not really. But I'm curious, like how long it took them to make this.
It looks good for a movie that's not probably not made for too much money.
Yeah, I mean, the movie really shows effort. I'm not going to fault any of the animators for the hard work that they put into this. They seriously tried to make a Disney-styled movie. And you're going to have to excuse us. We're a little tired. It's a little late. Are
my yawns coming through?
Yeah.
I'm really sorry.
It's all right.
I'm sorry, everyone.
So if you hear a yawn, don't worry. It's just
it'll seem more appropriate if you play this episode at night.
Or if you're listening to us, you're probably yawning right now.
Yeah. Well, let's continue on. So, it's a stat. There's when the child is born.
Yeah.
You see in the background that there's one person who didn't want the child, and it was Rothbart.
Yeah, Rothbart.
Who just looks like Dr. Wily meets Robotnik meets like the Amos Slade character from Fox and the Hound.
Yeah.
There's all those characters combined. He's got this huge, almost Yosemite Sam like
mustache and has like a mutton chops and is balding still, like on the top.
So he
wants the kingdom basically, and he dabbles in the dark arts, and I guess the king didn't like that. I don't know.
The king didn't like it, and then they just
banished him.
They banish him,
That's
which
it.
is like.
Well, it's like...
Well, he didn't really commit anything.
He didn't do anything.
So, I guess banishment would be the just thing to do.
Yeah, I guess it was just the power of suggestion that he was going to do it. Like, he was going to take over the kingdom somehow, or maybe it was against the law to dabble in the dark arts or something. But then they just banish him, and he says, like, I'll be back, and I'll get everything that... is precious to you.
Then the king throws a thing of Hall's cough drops.
We need to mention that Rothbart is voiced by Jack Palance, the great Jack Palance, who is honestly, and I don't. I mean, his voice really comes out as Jack Palance in this, but I don't really think the acting comes out that well from him.
Yeah.
Especially because he talks a lot like this, and you don't really hear what he's saying. He's just kind of breathing over his lines.
It should be a moment where, like, Odette just goes, huh? What'd you say?
Yeah, there are a lot of moments where he's saying something, but you don't know what exactly he's saying.
Do you want a glass of water?
No, except for head full of pudding.
Head full of pudding. At one point in the movie.
That was my favorite line. Head full of pudding.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Head full of pudding.
But yeah, so he gets banished, and then the kids grow up, and then they suddenly love each other. They have that. What else is there?
But it doesn't. Yeah, but they have that moment, and it doesn't work out. So they go their own ways. They're just like, oh, we tried and everything. And then at that point, the king and Odette are on their way home, and they're stopped by Rothbart, who turns into the
great animal.
The great animal,
which I think is kind of like, because there's a whole. Well, I don't want to.
Well, there was that moment where it's like the reveal of this creature was in a wide shot. That was the reveal. It should have been like, close up to him, and you see him transform, and then it would be like the wide shot, and you see him like attacking the coach.
But either way, the thing that's weird though is that there's a whole section of the movie where, I mean, obviously the whole audience knows that Odette is the swan and knows that Derek is looking for the so-called great animal.
Yeah.
But because you see Rothbart turn into the great animal. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe, I know it was intentional, but I think it would have been more interesting even to have them riding home, and then suddenly the great animal attacks, and then even though you kind of can be like, was that Rothbart?
Yeah.
And then you find out later, oh, it was Rothbart, I mean,
yeah,
but it's
found out like immediately, like he stopped the stagecoach and just like turned into the animal and stole him. And it's like, it would have been great if there was a little bit mystery to it. Like, the audience doesn't know what the creature looks like. The audience doesn't know what happened to Odette, but it's kind of already established.
Yeah. Either way, you see moments where Rothbart is trying to woo Odette, so it's like, oh, it's totally Rothbart.
Yeah.
Even if they,
but in this time, one of the main knight or something, the general, comes in through the other kingdom and says like, oh, the king needs your help. One eye. Sorry to make that call back.
Yeah, it was a Thief and the Cobbler reference, but. So they go and they find the king is dying.
Well, yeah, Derek finds the king who is like dying at his coach, and he doesn't say, he's like, what happened? Odette, and he doesn't like say anything.
Because he says it's not what it seems. What's not what it seems? Where's Odette? It's like, why don't you just say it was Rothbart?
Yeah,
Rothbart took Odette. That way. Yeah,
he says like something like there was a great animal, not what it seems. And it's like, he knew it was Rothbart, because in the beginning he was like, it's him, Rothbart.
Is it harder to say Rothbart than the great animal,
probably.
Or it's not what it seems? It's just like...
Yeah. Well, Rothbard. I mean, that name.
How hard? I
just-
mean, doesn't it seem if you're on your dying?
Rothbard's not necessarily like a school name where he was just like, Rothbard, come over here. What are you doing?
Maybe that's why he was a mean guy.
It's like,
My mother named me Rothbard.
Rothbards. Wait till they get a load of me.
But yeah, so he kidnaps Odette and then puts a spell on her.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Well, at this point, the king is dead. I mean,
Yeah.
the king is like clearly died, and I'm just wondering at this point. Yeah, I was wondering. It's like, did he die? And it's like because they don't mention it at all. They don't even mention the other kingdom. They don't mention at all. It's like there's no king at this kingdom. Rothbart really has nothing to fight for, but he is acting as like, if you marry me, Odette, it'll be nice and legal. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like she
Because
even
I
says
gotta
like
obey the rules.
She's like, you got the power. Why don't you just do it? He's like, oh no.
No, that's not sporting.
Yeah. What, you kill a king and you like transform
Oh, and
into a great
suddenly
animal?
he has values.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what an asshole. I mean, like, it's like we were sitting there thinking, it's like, Rothbart, why don't you just take the kingdom? There's no one at the throne right now.
Yeah, it could be
no one
anybody.
even knows if this kingdom exists. I mean, it's like, I was just reading this up. It's like, according to a map located in Rothbart's castle, Derek's kingdom is named Shamberg, yet no character ever gives it or Odette's kingdoms a name. There is no name to the kingdom that Odette is apparently the princess of. So for all we know, this kingdom doesn't even exist.
Like, what is this? Yeah, but it's so, yeah, it was.
It's a really convoluted plan
Yeah.
that kind of like falls flat.
And
it's
speaking
like,
of
I don't even think
convoluted, speaking of convoluted plans, his plan is he wants her. He tries to convince her to marry him
by turning her into
a swan. So she's a swan by day, and then at night she has to be on the lake. And when the moonlight hits the lake, she turns back into a human.
And then he comes over and says, will you marry me? And she says, no. And then he's like, oh, fiddlesticks. And he runs off and is like, I'll marry her yet.
It's like pretty much like Rumpelstiltskin-esque.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just very like simple, like
you almost feel like if you said Rothbart's name, he'd be like, oh, no.
like I can understand if it was like a
Stop.
simple fair. Like, I mean, obviously it's based on a simple fairy tale or
Yeah,
a ballet. So
I mean,
you have to kind of build it up a bit.
There is that difficulty of taking like a fairy tale and trying to adapt it into a movie and trying to make it entertaining. And by doing that, we add more characters to this. So, speaking of, while Odette turns into a swan during the day and then turns into like
A human at night.
A human at night they have to explain this damn thing. They basically say it's like you have to be on this lake and the moonlight has to hit right there and you have to be on the moonlight, see, and then you turn into a princess. But when the sun comes up, you're back to a swan and hey doodly doo.
What the hell was that?
That was Rothbard explaining the plan.
I just love the part where you go, and when the sun comes up, you look like you're about to go into a song.
Yeah, like every other portion of this
That's
movie.
true.
So then we're introduced to the
Comedy relief characters.
yeah, the comedy relief, which is a frog.
Jean Bob, who's
Je-
a frog voiced by John Cleese.
John Cleese,
Which, and the thing is, so funny, I have to say, John Cleese was originally, they wanted him to be Cogsworth in Beauty and the Beast.
They also wanted. Well, it says here in the trivia that they wanted him to play Zazu in The Lion King.
Yeah.
But he turned that down for this.
Wow, he's just really bad at decision making.
Yeah, I
because
guess.
he turned down doing Cogsworth, the clock in Beauty and the
Maybe
Beast.
he just didn't like Walt Disney movies.
So I don't know. And then he did the cat, the villain from American Tail 2.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, shit, I bet on the wrong horse. well, I could either choose to be in The Lion King as Zazu,
As a bird.
or I could be as a
frog.
frog, and I could do my French taunter voice from Holy Grail
Yeah.
for a whole movie.
And I will taunt you a second time.
He doesn't even do his own singing.
Yeah, and Stephen Wright is a
Friends call me Speed.
it's a turtle, and he has another name, but there's a friend call me Speed.
Yeah.
And Stephen Wright's like that comedian, basically, the one that always talks like, I went to
the Eeyore school of delivery.
Yeah, it's like, I went to an ice cream store and I thought I'd get some ice cream, but the guy said he didn't have any. And that's his shtick. Is like, I don't know any of his jokes, but he's apparently really funny. And in this movie, it's like, it's fitting that he's a turtle and he's slow and he has like that voice for it.
Yeah.
But it's not really used very properly. And to make up for even like not just two sidekick characters, a third one comes into the mix, a puffin. Just named Puffin.
He's Lieutenant Puffin.
He's lieutenant or general.
No, he's lieutenant, and then he becomes a general.
Is it? Okay.
For no reason.
He's voiced by Steve Vinovich, who I'm not sure what else he's been in.
But the thing is also...
he does have a good voice.
Odette has sidekicks, and then there's...
Derek has his Bromley, who I call him Sean Astin because he just looks like Samwise. Yeah, he looks like Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah,
and then Mr. Frodo.
And then there's Lord Roger, who's a fun character.
Yeah, Lord Roger.
I like Lord Roger, but
he's pretty good. It's really weird because there's moments where he's animated really well, and then there's moments where he's just like, kind of like, we're looking up his nose a lot of the time, and he has this huge mouth with these huge teeth.
Yeah, and is he like? And it's weird because he has this weird relationship with the Queen.
I guess so.
Like they walk and dance together all the time.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like he's not a king. He's more like
a duke.
Probably.
I don't know, but
advisor of some sort.
Yeah. But
he's there. He's basically more of the comic relief than Bromley is.
Right, and then there's the little guy in the purple suit. There's a little. What is he? He's like a.
Oh, I don't know. They don't. He's like.
He's like a little. He's like a Chamberlain.
Chamberlain.
And then.
Oh yeah.
And then Rothbart has like this weird hag assistant. And then
she's basically this old lady that is the LeFou, and doesn't really say anything. Yeah, she just goes like. And then at some point she turns into Odette. So.
Yeah, it's just whatever.
Oh, and then there's that love thing with her and Chamberlain, I guess. So,
that's weird.
Which is really weird.
Yeah.
But Chamberlain is animated really well.
Oh, I like his animation.
His animation is really funny. Yeah,
because there's some characters I feel like they don't fit in the movie.
No,
like Bromley.
Bromley doesn't really feel like he fits. Lord Rogers fits. I feel.
Yeah.
I love the designs of the King and the Queen.
They're great.
They're fantastic. I don't mind Odette and Derek. They're fine. It's just that Derek's animation is very slow.
There's a lot of moving holds.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, it takes him so long to get to one keyframe to the other.
He's like, and he just like holds, and then he just kind of like, almost as if he's floating.
There almost would be a whip effect for some of his animation, and it would just kind of like float there. So it's like,
and then speed up suddenly, and then go into something else.
Yeah. And I don't really mind their designs. Odette is very pretty. Derek is a good, handsome prince. The King and the Queen are great. I like Lord Rogers. Bromley is kind of like, he doesn't look like he fits in this series. And the frog and the turtle and the puffin are kind of all over the place. I don't really think they... all the
chair
characters
squeaks like hell.
Yeah.
I'm so
out
sorry.
of all characters to put in a movie, a puffin, it's like he comes
Lieutenant Puffin.
Yeah, he comes in with like an arrow in his wing. And there's no explanation for that, by the way. He just comes in with an arrow in his wing. Odette saves him by snapping it out, and then he becomes like, I'm Lieutenant Puffin, and I'll help you, and you're my friend forever. Ooh, toy. And that's it. That's like, pretty much it.
And he's really like, he's well
animated,
but very over animated. He's very like Genie or Scuttle-esque in his animation.
That's the first thing that I was thinking of. He felt a lot like Scuttle. I'm not that impressed by Speed and John Bob's animation that much. I mean, there's moments where it's like, it's fine, but then there's moments where it's just like, you know, they're just kind of...
Yeah, I mean, like, but... Yeah, so, moving on.
Yeah.
So, Now,
But yeah, what we're saying is that there's a lot of sidekick characters in this movie that
as many as there are songs.
as many sidekicks as there are songs. I don't know. That could be.
Everybody gets a song.
Everyone gets a song. It's like every moment something.
I should have counted. I should have been like 1, 2 every time.
I'm gonna make a guess throughout the entire movie that we've seen. I'm gonna guess that there's about 8 songs, and that's not including the
Reprises.
credits, the credit songs, the radio versions of those main songs,
Which I never liked. Like in Disney movies, that's the one thing I hate the most. Is like when a movie ends, then you get like that synth keyboard.
Well, that was to sell the records.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it was. But it's just that synth '80s love ballad never sounds good.
Yeah.
It just sounds really hokey.
But it's throughout this movie. The main song is like what is it called? If
Some enchanted evening.
Some enchanted evening. It sounds like the beginning of the Beauty and the Beast song.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah, it's like da na 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 da na na na, and then it goes into Tale as old as time. But that happens like almost every 5 minutes.
It's
like
the key theme of the movie.
Yeah, and every time I hear it, I'm just like, it's Beauty and the Beast.
It's reminding me to watch a better movie.
Yeah, this movie was heavily influenced by Beauty and the Beast
And most of the
Little Mermaid.
any Don Bluth or Disney movies that came out like in the previous 5 years.
And there's also a lot of Don Bluthiness looking stuff. Like there's alligators in the moat where Odette is
they just
held
look like
captive.
the Land Before the All Dogs Go to Heaven alligator.
Yeah, it looks the big-lipped alligator. It just looks like that alligator, and
There's 2 of them.
there's 2 of them. So double your pleasure.
And a lot of the backgrounds and like whenever there's like the big fight scene at the end, it's very Don Bluth-esque in terms of their like lighting and color styling.
Yeah. I'm almost wondering like how many people have worked on Don Bluth movies that have been working on this movie as well, but you know, I'm not really sure. But there is really like a feeling of, you know, they wanted that feel. They wanted to like have a Don Bluth sort of Walt Disney mixing, but we're still trying to do our own thing. So let's go ahead with whatever. And we also should mention that this movie has several sequels direct to video. I remember seeing one of them. Some of them are animated pretty well. I remember seeing one of them.
I don't remember seeing
they were animated as about as well as this movie. So it's like that should say something for it.
I saw a trailer like last year of a CG Christmas one.
Yes, there was a Christmas one.
That was CG.
Yeah. Let's see. The Swan Princess, A Royal Family Tale. The Swan Princess Christmas. The Swan Princess Escape from Castle Mountain. The Swan Princess, The Mystery of the Enchanted Treasure. And I'm sure there's more, but yeah, there's quite a few.
Yeah.
Well, moving on. So now we have this whole story where Odette is turned into a swan. She doesn't know what to do, and she has a bunch of friends that are very annoying. And then we go back to the castle, another song. And it's basically Prince Derek
playing paintball.
He's playing paintball with his arrows. And I guess what he's trying to do is practice. It's like the song is about him practicing too much. It's like he practices every day. It's
pretty much the Nemo. It's like the Nemo etiquette song.
Yeah. Exactly.
Got to get some etiquette
if you want
to be a prince. Like it's just that same kind of song.
How to move your hips and sorry.
That's a movie.
I love that movie. Yeah. I personally love that movie.
Yeah, but so they have all these, you know, I guess they're
musicians.
They're Rogers musicians, all dressed as animals,
and they're all it's whatever the color of his arrow will hit. It's like a point.
Yeah,
you know, it's like it's paintball. It's and this is all just kind of fluff to tell you that Derek is a great archer, and he knows how to hunt. and he's trying to hunt for the great animal that the king warned him. And he keeps saying, "It's like, I will find Odette. Do you know if she's even alive? Yes, I know. I know it in my bones," or something like that. "And I'm going to find her, and I'm going to kill the great animal."
Derek, that's all that's left of her is bones. At this point, it's been weeks.
Yeah.
Take a break.
So there's that moment, and there's even a moment where he goes into the royal book library, and it's like the library from Beauty and the Beast.
It's almost exactly the same design.
And we're like looking at this, it's like, oh hey, we're back at Beauty and the Beast. Oh wait, no.
Yeah. Oops.
And he's looking for a book. It's like, that's it. I know the secret to the great animal, not what it seems. See this? It's a mouse. But it could also be a dragon. So we're going to look for a mouse. He's basically saying we're looking for any animal, and we're just going to kill any animal we see.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. But back at Odette's situation, she's still a swan, and they're trying to find... What the hell were they trying to find?
Well, the puffin has a plan. It's like we could fly and lure Derek back to the lake.
but they're looking for like a piece of paper.
They're looking for the map, and it's in Rothbart's castle.
But why did they need it?
So they can because Odette's like, I don't even know where I am. So they need to find the map so they can figure out where they are.
Is that why they did that?
Yeah, so they can find out where they are.
That didn't make sense to me. It just felt like they were running around looking for like a piece of paper that was like... Well,
They needed to know where Derek was.
Yeah, that didn't really make any sense. It's like she could have flew around at any point.
And then we have a whole No Fear song.
Oh god, that song. Yeah.
And then you have like a weird hockey game inside with
I mean,
with
it was a fun sequence seeing
There was some fun
the old
animation
hag like fight against these three animals around like playing baseball and then hockey, and then it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a fun sequence.
Right. So then
it still seemed like, why are they doing this?
Yeah, because they were looking for that map.
I guess.
And then suddenly, you're out in the woods.
Now I know where I am, and she flies off and looks for Derek, who is about to kill her.
Right. So then they're going to fly towards Derek's kingdom, and they're almost intercepted by an arrow accidentally shot off by, what was it, Bromley?
Yeah.
Shot it?
Yeah.
And then he hears Derek, and then she's like, Derek, he's down there. So she goes down, nearly gets killed by Derek. They fly back. Derek. I don't hate the name. I just when I say it, I'm almost inclined to say it like that.
Yeah.
Derek.
I'm enjoying a treat, Derek.
Sometimes I like to curl up into a big ball.
Derek.
And pretend I'm a hush puppy. Derek. But so she lures him back, and he sees that she's a swan, or that the swan is Odette.
Yeah.
And he swears to get her back, and then Rothbart discovers her and says, "Oh, I'm gonna lock you away."
Basically, he does sound like Yosemite Sam. He's like, "Ooh,
Razzafrazzin'.
I'm gonna get that prince." So, there is that moment where she lures him back to the castle where she is, and then he's about to kill her, but then she turns into the swan again, and he suddenly realizes, "Oh, Dad, I've been looking all over for you. You're beautiful, and that's all there is to you."
They never really established.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There
And
really
then suddenly
isn't
you hear
anything
like, "Oh, Dad," and he's like, "He's coming," and then they have like a minute-long conversation still. And I'm like, Rothbart is like,
he's right there.
Right there.
He's like listening. He's like, "Oh, Dad." Well, he even like mentions it. It's like, "You didn't think I wouldn't know this prince guy that you were with?" And
he talks like that. He says things like, "That guy."
That guy. Ooh. But he overheard them talking like there's a party the next day, I guess, where that the queen was setting up. She wants him to get married, and she thought like getting this party going was a good idea to get some like princesses over. And then Derek's idea was like, come over tomorrow night to my castle and be a big surprise.
And the only way that the spell can be broken is if he makes a true vow of love, an everlasting vow of love to her.
Yeah, because he kissed her right there. You'd think that would like break the spell, but no, it's like an everlasting vow.
Right. So he's like, I'll make it tomorrow.
gobstocker.
I'll make it tomorrow. Just be there and I'll make it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then Rothbard comes in and spoils the plan.
I'm not going to let you go in there. I'm going to...
Well, you forgot something. And then he says, there's no moon tomorrow. And you look up at the sky and you realize, oh shit, it's like a crescent moon.
Yeah.
And it's about to go to a new moon. So that she's not going to turn into a human the following night.
Yep.
So... she's locked away in this tower. Like, okay.
Yeah, she's locked away in the tower, and then they lock away Bromley.
Because they find him in the woods and they just throw him in there.
Yeah, they just throw him in there. And then Derek is just like, hey, where's Bromley? Oh, well, time to do my party.
Let's make things like a swan.
Yeah.
Graceful, like a swan. Yeah. Will Swan eat this?
These roses are red. Why, yes, Derek, roses are red, but I want white roses, like a swan, white and fluffy and feathery. Are these good enough for a swan to eat? It's like...
We both had the same thought.
It's like, what the hell's wrong with him? He even goes to the musician. He goes like, the music should sound soft. Like a swan.
And even Roger's like, he's like, what is a sound song? And Roger just goes like that. And then a tuba player just goes,
I like Lord Rogers.
I do.
He's pretty funny.
Yeah. What did I say? I said his design reminds me of if you combine Dr. Doppler from Treasure Planet with the old chicken from Chicken Run.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. He does look like
He's got like this hair that keeps moving behind him, just 2 frames behind.
And he's really like snooty and very has dry humor.
He looks like a bird.
Yeah, he looks like a bird
with his big nose.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's locked away, and then what was it that there's
a song with Rothbart, and he says like, "No more, Mr. Nice Guy."
Oh yeah,
and it's not Jack Palance singing. It's certainly not Jack Palance, but he's singing this song, and throughout the entire song, it's like there are, I guess, magical versions of everyone, like the king and the queen.
He's imagining it.
Yeah, he's imagining everyone there, but it's like that. It's like they're actually there, and then he has like this triplets singing
coming from the
group.
fountain. They're like fountain statues.
Yeah, to me they reminded me of like an Animaniacs like singing group. You know, it's just like they kind of just come out of the blue and they start singing, and there's nothing really special to them. It's just them singing, and he's doing like, yeah, I'm Mr. Nice Guy, and I'm gonna do some bad things.
I'm gonna eat their lunches.
I'm gonna step in the mud and track it all over their carpet.
Whatever the song was. Because we were just laughing.
We were laughing hysterically at the fact that
we were either A, laughing at what was going on the screen just in terms of the animation, or B, like, oh, look, the peg bar.
Yeah. It's like, I took a picture of this and put it on my Twitter. It was like, you saw the pegboard clearly,
and you're like, wow,
frames.
That's really rusty. They need a new Oxberry stand.
Yeah.
To shoot these things
it's been out in the rain for a while, and they just haven't really fixed it up.
No one's cleaned the animation disc in a while.
But those moments were really funny. I mean, like, that was stuff that I remember seeing in Thumbelina like a week back as well.
So, someone, I guess the puffin looks in and says, "Oh, there's water inside the tower," or they even just say water leaks inside the tower.
Yeah, they just wanted to make a bigger hole in the.
So then it's like, we need to find out where the hole is, so where the crocodiles are. So Jean Bob has to swim
their plan
down.
is to spring her out, and Bromley's just there, kind of drowning. I mean, he's just kind of like
he's hanging on to a chain.
Yeah, he doesn't even come out like till later. It's
How does he fit through that hole?
I don't know.
He's too fat.
I mean, how did he get past the crocodile? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, that's a good point. Where did it happen? But either way, so she escapes and flies to Derek.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, Rothbard has disguised his hag sidekick as Odette, kind of like in Little Mermaid.
Yeah. And she has like a black dress and everything. It's like, Odette, you're kind of different. And he's like, you should make a vow to me.
Yeah. And so
in her voice, it's like, it's not even like the hag's voice.
Odette, how have you been? Just sounds like a John Grant character.
Oh,
Hey, babe.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
he makes
the vow to her, and as Odette, as a swan, comes up to the window, it's just like,
no.
yeah, there's like that. She just got shot in the heart. Derek.
And the thing is, he says, I vow my love to Odette. And she's like, no. And then she just starts getting weak because I guess part of the spell is that she's
just
dying.
flies back, which it didn't really make sense to me. It's like, why does she die because of this? It's just that's just,
it's a weird stipulation.
It
just
just adds to the stake that doesn't really necessarily have to be there, I guess, or maybe it's there to create more tension or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's like it was an added element to it where it's just like, I feel Rothbart just came in and was like, oh, hey, I just brought in a new rule.
Yeah.
If he makes a vow to someone else, you're going to die.
Yeah, but the thing is,
that's just how I work.
Why does he change?
That's how he rolls.
How does he yeah. Why does he change his plan? Like, first he doesn't want to kill the princess, and then I guess because he's just sick and tired tired of asking her to marry him, so he's like, fine, I'll just kill her.
You have to understand, the entire point of Rothbart wanting to keep her in the first place is to marry her so he can become king of her kingdom. And all of a sudden, in between this, he's just like, you know what? She's never going to marry me, so I'm just going to kill her. Yeah, ha-cha-cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. And then I'll take over the other kingdom and whatever. Who cares? I don't know what my plan is anymore. I'm kind of sick of this shit.
I just want to randomly cock block this prince with my sidekick.
Exactly. It's
and make things really awkward. You pretty much, in a very weird, dark, magic way, just Bugs Bunny'd Derek.
Yeah, he kind of did. It's just like, there's the new rule. There's a new like problem that he's trying to create. He's just being a dick.
Yeah,
it's like Rothbart's just a big asshole. He just wants to like make life.
Why can't there be just a villain who is just an asshole?
I would love that. Honestly, it's just like
he doesn't have a motive. Like, he's not like, I want to control the world.
He just wants to create chaos. That's all he wants to do.
I just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah,
but yeah. So she's like now like limping. Like flying,
she's flying
alive.
over. There's no moon, but she turns into herself again on the floor.
And Derek
runs over. Well, because he reveals, like Rothbart says, like, "Hey, check it out! You just made a vow to the wrong woman. Hey," and reveals the old hag.
I wish he was more like your interpretation of Rothbart. Just like, hey everybody, look what I'm doing today.
Rothbart, I'm gonna do something dickish. Hey, look at that guy. He's got a bad haircut.
Guy in particular.
Yeah, fuck this guy. Look at his haircut. It's really bad. and now I'm going to. And now I just went to the bathroom and I didn't wash my hands. Hey, look at me, I'm going to the punch bowl, I'm getting me a drink. Oh, and then I spilled it on the carpet. Oh.
I double dipped the chips.
All the while
no more, Mr. Nice Guy.
All the while he's doing like this little jigs, like ha-cha-cha-cha-cha.
He turns into Jimmy Durante for some reason.
I would love to just like make a villain just doing whatever. He's not like, it's not even pertaining to the main story. It's just like he's just being a dick to everyone. It's like, hey, look at this. I'm gonna do this now. Oh
yeah.
So okay, Derek goes back,
and then here comes my
castle.
favorite. This is one of the few things I do remember from watching the movie years ago.
Yeah.
She dies in his arms, and he goes, "The vow I made was for her. The vow I made was for her." And even Rothbart's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, this is...
It was a, what am I fighting for?
Yeah, or it was pretty much Darth Vader's, no. Like, it's like...
He does it twice in this movie.
Yeah, he screams, oh, Dad.
Yeah, they reused that scream of his, of crying out for Odette quite a few times. And you can tell, because it's like, it doesn't sound like any other line that he reads. Odette! I can't really like emulate it. It's just it's very particular. It's just like, oh, Dad,
I'm in debt.
I'm in debt. But yeah, he said the vow is for her, and then Rothbard goes like, "Oh, boo-hoo, and now I'm gonna turn into the great animal, and I'm gonna be a dick and try to kill you."
Well, even like he says, I'm gonna break this curse," and he's like,
"Oh wait,"
and he's like, "The only way you do that is if you defeat me."
Yeah.
It's like, why are you setting yourself up for this?
Yeah, that's that's on him. That's on Rothbard, honestly.
Answer these questions 3. I'm the horse's head.
Oh god. No. All right.
No, we can't.
All right. So what's his head? All right. So he turns into the great animal,
Which is like a Dom Bluth abomination of a creature. It's just like
the entire sequence kind of reminds me of Quest for Camelot in a sense, where it's just like this magical creature all of a sudden kind of fight. It's a very awkward fight. There's a lot of weird cuts.
Yeah.
And there's a moment, well, where the reason how he kills him is Bromley escaped, and he shoots an arrow toward Derek, in which he reenacts a move that he did previously, where he turns around, grabs the arrow, and then reshoots it towards his target. And then there's that. Monster dies. He explodes in a very
beautiful way.
Yeah.
Which we have to say, the effects in this movie were done by
Michael Gagné. That's his name, right?
Yeah. Michelle. I can never pronounce his damn name.
I would say I think it's Michael Gagné. Garnier,
like the hair. I'm so bad at names.
I am too.
I've had so many.
But this guy, I mean, the guy is really renowned for his special effects.
Special effects are some of the most beautiful stuff in the movie.
And there's a lot of moments where I could tell it was his special effects because he has a very specific look to a lot of his effects.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's probably the most well animated stuff. This movie has a lot of great special effect animation. So yeah, he explodes, and then Derek goes over.
Rothbard's dying in the other room.
It's the great creature. They get a load of me. So yeah, he goes back to Odette and he says like, "I'm so sorry, the vow is for you." And then Odette is like, "I know." And she wakes up. She's all good, and then there's like a 10-minute sequence at the end where it's just like everything kind of wraps up in each other. We forgot to mention that Jean Bob
keeps thinking that he's a prince and wants to get
he wants to get a kiss from.
He wants to get the third base with Odette.
Yeah. He wants Odette to kiss him, so he turns into a prince. So he's convinced of that, and then she finally kisses him, and then he thinks that he's a prince, but he's still a frog. And there's even that funny moment where he's like looking at the reflection in the water, and it looks like, you know, this John Cleese looking handsome prince.
Yeah, it happens just to be that actual guy just standing above him.
And then he turns around and like walks off, and it's pretty funny. I mean, that's. The idea of Jean Bob is really funny. I mean, like, but it's not executed that well.
Yeah.
And then Speed is just kind of like, he can do everything. I mean, Speed is pretty much the savior in all of this.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that throws the bow to Derek. He's the one that saves Odette from...
Old Littlefoot head saves the day.
He looks like Littlefoot. When you mentioned that, I was just like, oh my God, you're right. Why does he look like Littlefoot? In a shell. And really old. Looks like Rufus.
Oh, he does.
You listen to old... What's his name? Rooter?
Rufus the cat.
Rooter. Rooter.
It was the
old guy that shows up.
The guy that they shoehorned into the movie to have a decent message about the great circle of life.
Yeah.
And he was the narrator in the movie?
He was the narrator, yeah.
What's going on here?
Well, you listen to old Rooter.
Only in time will the pain go away.
Not right along. Bye. I'm going to go sink into this
I'm going to go narrate
pit.
the rest of this movie that you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Puffin is like...
He becomes a general?
Yeah, of other swans.
Of other swans, yeah.
And then just flies off. The queen... I guess there's some sort of relationship between her and
Roger.
Rogers. And then Chamberlain and the hag are like together. They're holding the wedding like they're what are they called? Wedding blankets.
The veil.
The veils, yeah.
Or the like the long part
They're
behind
holding them, and then they're just kind of like, there's a moment where they look at each other, and then they start kissing each other. And Chamberlain's just like, well, this is as good as I'm gonna get.
You're my bronze medal, hag woman. You're the best I can get under the circumstances.
You're as good as it's gonna get.
Yeah.
So,
and that's pretty much
there's
the movie.
That's Swan Princess, and that got a ton of sequels on direct to video. And
it's weird because I remember again I saw this movie a lot as a kid, but I vaguely remember it until now.
Yeah, I remember. I think I saw it in theaters when I was a kid. Just mainly because it was an animated movie, and like Beauty and the Beast was really big, and then I don't know. There was like a lot of movies that tried to ape the popularity of Beauty and the Beast. I mean, even Don Bluth he tried to do it with like Thumbelina.
Thumbelina, like Rasputin and Rothbard are very similar characters.
Yeah, in a sense. But yeah, it's just like. This movie kind of does a lot of things. Like I said earlier, this movie does a lot of things different from most traditional Disney movies, like princess movies. And in a way, it's like that's kind of refreshing, but at the same time, it's like it's not executed that.
It's not. They're going
special.
like there's an inkling of that's right, do something different than Disney.
Yeah,
and then they don't really see it through.
And I do like the difference, the dynamic between the prince and the princess, where it's like they've known each other since their childhood.
Yeah,
and then there's that moment where it's like, wow, I really like you because you're beautiful. It's like they even mention it's like you were an ugly duckling and now you're a beautiful swan. And
get it?
Yeah, exactly. And because there's that moment where she looks like Pippi Longstocking, I guess, in like her when she's 10 years old. Yeah, she has like those pigtails and stuff like that. And it's like there was that message where they said it's like, you're beautiful. What else? And then he doesn't say anything. It's like, what else is there? And that never comes back. That it's like that kind of message should have been focused on a little bit more. It almost feels like because of the fact that she's turned into a swan, it's kind of like
you're still very misguided throughout the most of the movie.
Yeah, it diverts the concept of this idea with like when they met. It's like, well, wait, I know you're beautiful and I want to marry you, but is there something else to it? You know, it's like it almost feels like he didn't really earn that sort of knowledge that he needs to think more about her. And I think that's like a little bit more of a modern way to think of a movie. This movie was made in the 90s. I mean, I can't really expect that kind of mentality to happen back then. But at the same time, it's like you almost feel like it should have been there.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like when Shrek did it, it's like, he kissed the princess and then she still became an ogre, and it was like, what, you are beautiful, it's like you're beautiful to me because we love each other.
Yeah.
And it's like that should have been something like with this almost, but in the same way, it's like, what did Odette do? What did Derek do? He just kind of like, he wanted the princess. He just didn't really...
There never really was a moment afterwards where he like learned more about Odette and really learned to appreciate her and what made her special outside of her just being pretty.
There should have been moments where he kind of reverted back to the childhood, where there were moments that he really enjoyed her. It's like enjoyed her presence. Because there was moments in the beginning, it was like, they're fighting. I know there was that moment where like he's throttling her neck.
Yeah.
But there were moments where it's like, she was kicking his ass. And, they were having, tussles and fights, and there was like moments where they could have been, relatable. It's like he could have realized that there was more to her than, just like she's a girl or anything. It's like, oh, she really knows how to fight. She really knows, she's smart, and she knows how to trick me into things or trick other it's just
they could have really solidified and really built up that relationship.
Yeah, but it's like they could have used that. They could have used that a little bit more later in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, in the beginning, it's great because it's like we grow up with them, but after that, it's just kind of like that's all thrown out the window because we got to turn her into a swan, and she's Rothbart and all that.
Right.
It's like Rothbart just fucked with the story. He's like, oh, you think there's gonna have some more meaning to this? Well, I'm just gonna rewrite the script, and yeah, here we go. And now it's gonna be about a frog and a puffin. What do you think of that? I just fucked with your movie. What do you think of that?
You like the Disney songs, huh? Well, here's like 15,000 songs. The valets have a song.
Oh, we didn't talk about the Buzzley Berkeley number.
There's like a weird Miss America number.
Yeah, there are.
And it stops right. There's a moment where they're gonna rescue Odette from the tower.
Yeah.
And it just stops and then cuts to the castle and then it just for the song number. And then back to the rescue.
It's like the second to last song in the entire movie. And it's this Buzzley Berkeley number about talking about princesses that are at this party. And they're coming down, and they have like these really sparkly dresses.
There's one that has a dress made of corn.
Yeah, that was weird.
And one of them is like an armored German. And she comes in on a horse, and then she opens her thing, and then her face is covered in metal, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah,
like what is going on here?
Yeah, what's going on? And I want to say
one of them was what was it? You said it was Carol Channing?
Yeah, one looked like Carol Channing. Just like, hey, hi, Prince Derek. Derek, how are you doing? Raspberries.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that whole moment just kind of like halted. It was like at that moment, I just realized what the hell is this movie about? It's like I had to remind myself, oh yeah, there's a Swan Princess, and she's like trapped in a castle somewhere.
I just imagine so-and-so, the director coming in and saying Bob, you're in charge of the valet dance number scene, where the guys are jumping up and down on the carriages and swinging the doors open and.
Guys and dolls, da 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 da.
Guys and dolls. Park your car here. I don't know, it was just an odd, useless moment.
Yeah, there was that moment where it was the ballet song.
I remember, wasn't I sitting down?
It stops, and then later on we get into the Buzzley Berkeley piece with the princesses, and it's like. What movie am I watching right now?
I think even when that scene came on where you just start hearing the music and the doors are opening on these carriages, I'm like, do the fucking valets get a song too?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. It was
somewhere
it was
characters are drowning or being chased by crocodiles.
It's like I love the scene, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't need to be there. This didn't need to happen.
Well, how long would this movie have been without that precious ballet?
Let's see.
The Miss America song.
Yeah, the Chamberlain is like, there she is, Miss
One
Princess.
of your potential wives.
Let's see. Okay, this movie is...
running time.
Approximately... It's almost 90 minutes. Which is a decent amount of time. That's actually pretty long. I mean,
an hour and a half.
It felt like it just went by really
Well, the credits
fast.
were pretty long too.
Yeah, but if they cut out a lot of stuff, this movie probably would have been
an hour and 10 minutes.
It just would have been under 50 minutes probably. It's like all the songs were just kind of fluff. It's just to keep it afloat somehow.
Derivative fluff of Disney movies past.
I almost wanted another song from Rothbart. I didn't. It was like
I love how when he comes in, he just starts singing the song, and it's just silence, and I just wanted to hear crickets. And even Derek is just sort of like, "What the hell are you doing? You're just came in and started singing a verse to a song I don't know about.
I'm singing a song during your party. What do you think of that?
I'm an asshole. I just crashed your party."
Yeah, he just sings a song. It's like, I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole.
Or is it a hoedown?
Yeah. Hey, look at me. Yeah. I'm singing a song about
Being an asshole.
being an asshole.
Why isn't there just a Disney song about a guy just being an asshole?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Disney can't do an asshole song.
No, I mean, that's... But I mean, like, just to say that he's a chaotic idiot that doesn't really care about anything. That... I don't know. I like Rothbart in a way... But at the same time, it's like, I don't like him. Yeah. He's not a very good villain.
I just imagine a lyric being like, there's so much to do on this treacherous mission. Why am I singing this plot exposition? I just want, it's just as what it feels like. Just half of these songs are either completely useless or... Because the point of, the reason why Disney would do songs was it's in lieu of plot exposition.
Yeah.
You have, if a character wants to sing about, establishing When You Wish Upon a Star, which establishes the whole thing of Pinocchio.
Right.
All the songs in Snow White lead to, they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
And they're used in lieu of things.
Yeah.
Then you get some of these songs, I guess the best example in Swan Princess would be this is not my idea of fun.
Yeah.
Because it's a montage song.
It's a montage
It's their growing up.
That's a good
we
way
don't
to
like
put
each other, but now we like each other's song.
But then there's the moments where it's like all of the castle's workers and servants are singing about Prince Derek practicing too much. It's like, he practices every day. He la 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 with his arrows and his things. That's all he really does.
Let's sing about valets. In 45 minutes, we'll cut to the valet song.
Yeah, but I do like that weird princess song though. It's like I feel like in another movie that would have been really, really funny.
Shrek. Shrek 2.
Yeah, but no.
Shrek 3.
No. Definitely not Shrek 3.
How about the fourth one?
God, no.
One of those Shreks?
No. No.
Okay. Oh.
No. No Shrek. It's not Shrek.
It's not Batman. There was a moment where
we needed to mention
during the chase where they need to get the map, Jean-Bob lands on a book and he's running on the pages and they're flipping, and you suddenly look and was like, wait, is that Batman? And then we scroll back and we pause the movie, and
immediately on that frame, it was like, it's a guy that looks like...
It's like Batman or Space Ghost.
He looks like Batman, Space Ghost, but with this very curly beard.
Or mustache,
I mean. Yeah, it's just like...
And what was the name that someone made on Twitter?
Oh, it was
Batman.
Yeah, it's Batman.
Because I love this. Because that Batman, and we stop and we go, oh, that's not Batman at all.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I go, just like Marge, I go, it's not Batman.
Yeah, it's like, I thought it was Batman. It's not Batman.
That's some running joke. It was
and then there was a rabbit and then a yin yang symbol. I don't know. It was a stupid little Easter egg that we found that turned out to not really be much of an Easter egg. It was just kind of like something that was, I don't know. We thought it was funny. I also posted it on Twitter. So
I think that's all we could really say about this movie.
Yeah. We haven't really seen any of the sequels, and I don't know when we're gonna ever get to them at any point. Yeah. Well, it'll happen.
Never.
But this movie, I can't recommend it. I mean,
you can't?
the thing about this movie is that it's bordering among bad and good, but it's like around the time that it came out, it's like it was riding on a lot, It was like don't chew on my microphone.
Sorry. I wasn't. I was chewing on the guard.
But
sorry.
Stop it. But there was, back then, I understand that Disney held a high bar when it came to animated movies. And I know that there was a lot of studios that wanted to emulate that. And while they tried their hardest to try to figure out the formula to try and make a Disney movie or a Disney-esque movie, I don't really think they understood quite how to perform in that sort of level. They just thought like, oh, let's make a bunch of pretty songs. It'll be a princess story, and it'll have lots of wacky characters that are sidekicks and all that. And that happened to a lot of like direct-to-video stuff that kind of just... They're trying to emulate it, and it just didn't work. And this is probably one of the best examples of that. And they tried really, really hard. And there's a lot of fun
some stuff
to
doesn't miss. Some stuff misses the mark. But
yeah, but honestly, it's like
works.
it's not bad. It's just it's trying. I think it's trying too hard, and if it really felt like it could have done something different. Like, especially with, how the whole princess and prince meet and everything, but it all kind of like goes away as soon as she turns into a swan. It's like, all that doesn't really mean anything. Yeah. It's like, and that's the problem for me with this movie. But I really do like a lot of the stuff in it. It's like, Odette is really neat. I like the prince and the queen and the king. The queen is animated like she's my favorite animated character in this movie.
She looks great. Every scene of hers looks pretty.
Yeah, and she's funny too. She has a lot of
Sandy
funny
Duncan.
Scenes. Yeah, that's right. She's Sandy Duncan, and Lord Rogers is pretty fun. Sometimes he's kind of weird looking, but other than that, it's like, and I also have to say the Puffin's pretty fun to watch. Yeah. He's animated really neat. And the Chamberlain's also animated really neat. So it's like, it doesn't really come down to good animation. It also has to do with story. And while the story is not, it's like halfway it just kind of falls apart. It's like, it just kind of like forgot what it was about. And then just kind of like, let's just put in whatever. And the end, everything's fine now. There's no loose ends. Rothbart can't screw this one up. He's
I just
dead
imagine
now.
Rothbart is the editor of this movie.
Yeah. Oh, you think that there's going to be some meaningful ending to this? Well, here's what I'm going to do.
Hey, Richard Rich, is this gig union?
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, Richie Rich, gonna give me some money for animation. Yeah.
God.
So
right.
no, that's the Swan Princess. And
that was that.
That's that. We're not really sure what our next animated movie is going to be, but we'll think
Hopefully
about
a better one than this.
Yeah. We'll probably do a good one. We'll switch in between. If you do have a suggestion for a movie, I do know that we did get a suggestion, and I'd have to look it up because I haven't found any results for it yet. But I did get shut up, Silvio. That's my cat. I know that we got a suggestion for a movie that I have never heard of, and I'm kind of want to look it up. We'll probably discuss this at some point. I don't have the email with me at hand right now, but we'll figure things out. If you have any suggestions or you would like to talk about the movie that we talked about today, you can go to our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/animated_anarchy_cast. And that is probably the best way that you can get a hold of us on the show and with any information that comes along to the show and whatnot and forthwith.
Yeah.
And also, we are on Stitcher and we are also on iTunes. If you can, please go there and find our podcast and you can give us a good review. It will help us spread the word about the show, and it will also help more people to listen to the show who are interested and would like to listen. So if you could do that, that'd be really great. Also, we are on Patreon to help support the show. You can give us $1 or more. We have a $5 tier for special advanced mini cast discussions that we have from time to time that you will get to hear a month in advance before it is actually put on iTunes and all that.
Ooh.
So if you want to support us, please go to patreon.com/Andrew Dickman. That is my name, just straight through, Andrew Dickman on Patreon. And you can give us $1 or $5, or you can support everything that I do on that, whatever, who cares. It's helping support the show and everything else that I do. Yes. And also we're on Twitter. I'm at
AAWD Twit.
And I'm at A Guy Who Draws.
And you can also contact us there if you want to discuss. But as I said before, Facebook.com/Animated Anarchy Cast is probably the best place to get a hold of us for the show specifically.
Yes.
Yeah. So, with that being said, this has been another Animated Anarchy podcast by the great...
Late.
Late? Well, yeah, he's late in saying his name because I'm pointing at you.
Mike Ruocco?
Yes, that's Mike Ruocco.
That's my name.
And I'm Andrew Dickman. Thank you so much
The
for...
vow I made was for her.
Derek! See you around next time, folks. This is Animated Anarchy. We'll see you next time. Bye. Derek!
What I should have said was when you said, the great friends call me sweet.